So as far as I understand it, breatharians, they believe that they exist purely on sunlight and air and don't need food at all. They absorb all their nutrients from, like, the world and stuff.
And what does the food they eat have to say about that?
Yeah, well, that's always the thing. They always end up like somebody ends up like spy camming them coming out of McDonald's with a cheeseburger or something.
I want to be a breatharian.
It's very easy to do. Just starve yourself. Don't eat anything and sit out in the sunlight. You'll be fine.
Super easy. Just die. It's not that hard.
I think it's Sunday. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck happened between the intro and now, but that was very strange distortion there. Hello, hi.
Well, what happened?
I don't know. You came in sounding like you just walked out of a fucking Oblivion gate.
Oh, I don't know. How did that sound, chat? I didn't do anything to the sound. And please, StreamYard, do not be screwing up my broadcast again. Did I sound demonic or something, chat, when I came in? You guys let me know. And I am the Lord of Punishment, perhaps actually from another dimension. Hope everyone's doing well on this Tuesday. Sorry to confuse anybody.
Yeah, nobody got the joke.
Well, if anybody who listened to last night's show would get the joke. That's the thing. It's like you have to be... This is why you have to pay attention to, the shows. This is how you build an inside joke, Satsu.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like I have to explain this to you, but I feel like I have to explain this to you.
Well, you made a choice to explain.
It's true. So how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Not bad at all. I got all my schoolwork done and turned that in, and it came out pretty nice. And, just been kind of chilling out and prepping for next week, because it looks like we got like 4 different fucking items to make next week, but they all kind of go together. So we'll see how that goes. I got to make poached chicken, which I am not excited about at all, because poached chicken looks like the most flavorless shit I've ever seen, but I'm sure it probably tastes fine.
And whose noble shall you be stealing this fowl from?
Who's what? Oh, is that another insider?
It's a poached. Never mind. Anyway, as for me, it was a busy work day. I had work, and a phone conference, and work, and I'll probably be working on the weekend. Work. That's my day and days going forward. Other than that, nothing too exciting in my world, I suppose. But before we get into the wonderful world of things, we have a birthday, because it is Nick Crowell's birthday. And Nick not only got a video birthday wish from Ranting Monkey, out on a deck somewhere in the wilderness of wherever, but he says, it's my 24th birthday today. Scribe wished me a happy birthday on Twitter. And I did. When I saw that, I was like, happy birthday. But that's not enough around here, of course. Right, Satsu?
That's right.
So around here, when it's your birthday, I am contractually obligated to do this. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you.
One day you should just bust out an Applebee's happy birthday song.
Happy birthday to you.
But today you get an Olive Garden one.
Happy birthday, dear Nick.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Nick.
That's beautiful.
That's the only kind of singing I do. And in the chat, the atheist icon, thank you so much for the happy. How's it going, Dogcat Fox? Oh, I don't know. How's it going, Dogcat Fox?
Wowie, wow.
I guess that's how Dog Cat Talks is going.
Yeah, you might want to run.
And thank you, Andrew Joyner. Sup, Scribe in chat. Sup, Andrew. How's it going? And Tall Person says, Happy National French Fry Day, everybody. Now, here's the thing. I heard about National French Fry Day this morning on the radio because it was like, does anybody know it's that National French Fry Day? And I was like, I bet dollars to donuts, speaking of food, the Tall Person's going to tell us about National French Fry Day tonight on the show. And I was right.
Hold the phone.
So there you go.
Did Andrew Joyner just say hello, Scribe in chat?
He said sup, Scribe and chat. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you'll have, that's between you and him. I don't know what else to say.
No,
and this is Kyle.
This
is Kyle. Thank you so much. Hello, chat people in Lawton. Money for you to do money things with. Oh boy. I was about to say something that wasn't very polite for a family show. So fill in the blank with your own imagination. And Nick Crowell, you didn't have to. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. You're welcome, Nick. And happy birthday on your 24th. I think you are about 1 year away from when your brain technically stops evolving and you can move biologically to the adulthood you'll always be at or something like that. That's what I hear anyway.
I'm sure that's comforting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it means he has room to grow. Yeah. Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Hit that like button if you have not already. And I see that many of you haven't. And please share our stuff. Now more than ever, it is important to share the stuff of the things, the people that you like to see on YouTube, because YouTube does a very poor job of it. So if there's content that you like from a particular content creator, whether it's us or someone else, be sure to let people know that they exist. And in that vein, I'm going to try very hard to make this a regular thing. Let's see how it works. At the end of that sentiment, to call out a channel that I particularly like right now. How's that sound, Satsu?
Sounds great.
Okay, so right now I would recommend Kira TV, Kira TV. He is a guy that is dedicated to covering the news of MMO games. Both the good, the bad, the new, the scandal, and so on. And he's got a very interesting way of approaching things. He's got some playlists on some very suspicious MMO projects out there, Kickstarters and so on. And I find his content interesting. So Kira TV, he doesn't need the help as far as like me recommending him. He's got a couple 100,000 subscribers now, but either way, he's somebody that I occasionally listen to, and I kind of like listening to him. So there you go.
There you go.
Do you have anything to add, Satsu?
Nope.
Okay, well then. Let's move on to the wonderful world of the snooze. And what do we have on the docket today? Which one do I want to pick? How about this one? Because I was happy to see this happen. Chop.
You got a super chat.
I do. I'm. Wow, you saw it first for once.
Yeah, shocking.
Thank you again, Tall Person. I believe that you made that dollars to donuts bet, so I'll give you a special second holiday greeting. Well, it was. Thank you, Tall Person, but that was Happy Fool's Paradise Day. A fool's paradise is a state of happiness based on belief, denial, or false hope. Oh, so the state of existence I live in every day. Thanks, Tall Person.
What a great reminder.
Well, I appreciate it. That's very generous of you. Thank you, Tall Person. And yeah, I mean, anytime I hear something about National Whatever Day, my first thought is, I bet Tall Person's going to let us know or verify that for us. So thank you so much. But in the vein of, I guess, maybe fulfilled hope in a way, because I always wonder what happened with this case. Chop murder suspect in Lorenzo Anderson's death arrested in Des Moines, Iowa? Or Seattle. Okay. U.S. Marshals and Seattle police officers arrested a murder suspect Monday accused of killing 19-year-old Horace Lorenzo Anderson during the Capitol Hill Occupied protest, or CHOP. Actually, it was the Capitol Hill, what was it? Something zone. What was the A? Because it was Chaz to begin with.
Yeah, autonomous zone.
Autonomous zone. That's what it was. Yeah, I think I like Chaz better. Anyway, in June 2020, authorities said Marcel Long, also 19, was walking along South 216th Street near 14th Avenue South in Des Moines, Washington. Oh, okay. Because when I hear Des Moines, I think of Iowa. So there's a Des Moines in Washington. When authorities confronted him Monday and arrested him after a brief foot chase. Yeah. I hope there's body cam footage of that. The 19-year-old was booked into the King County Jail in connection to Anderson's June 20th death inside CHOP, without another quotation mark. Surveillance video showed Long approaching Anderson with a handgun in the early morning hours of June 20th. Authorities said Long chased the victim as he backed away and ran. Several others tried to hold Long back, but he broke free and fired multiple shots towards Anderson, resulting in his death just after 2:15 a.m. Investigators said Long immediately fled the state after the shooting and was not arrested until over a year later. Well, obviously, because Monday, anyway. Long was identified as a suspect one day after the fatal shooting, and King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office filed a first-degree murder charge against him August 5th, 2020. Investigators said Long immediately fled the state. You already told us that. And was not arrested until over a year later. You just investigate. Okay, there's that. And there it is again. I mean, like it's there, and then it's there.
Yep.
Okay. Evan O'Shan, the attorney for Anderson, released a statement after Long's arrest was announced. Quote, "We are grateful for the hard work of law enforcement for finally bringing Marcel Long in. However, the flawed political system which allowed the CHOP zone to exist and allow lawlessness to reign on Seattle are at the core of why Lorenzo, a black special needs teenager, bled out and died on June 20th, 2020.
I was waiting for something like that. I'm like, we usually hear some kind of description of what the thing was and why it exists. You know, they're like the CHOP zone, which was supported by this person or made for this reason, but there was nothing. They have no commentary on it at all.
Yeah. The failed leadership of Seattle, including the mayor, city council, EMT, and others responsible for not helping Lorenzo as he bled to death due to negligence and or incompetency of city, state, and county management will be brought to justice. And I said this on Twitter when I tweeted out the story. I hadn't read the details of the story at that point, but I was just glad to see the headline that he was caught. I tweeted out that if there is any balance of justice in the world, all of the city leaders responsible for allowing CHOP to exist will be brought up on reckless endangerment or reckless negligence, whatever the term is, charges for allowing the situation to be created where things like this were just an inevitability, because that whole thing was absolutely bonkers. The mayor going on national TV and saying it's going to be a summer of love, and members of the city council going out there and like supporting the riots and all that, and like and demonizing the police. And boy, oh boy, I would not want to live in Seattle. Tell you what, over this last year especially. But I doubt anybody on the city council will ever face any criminal charges. But you know, like I say, if there was any karma in the world, they certainly would. Anyway, glad the guy's caught. Glad he was taken alive. I don't like the idea of a quick escape into death, but anyway, let's move on to something kind of interesting. Doesn't always happen, but I haven't actually read the story yet. So again, from our favorite friend at CNN, Chris Eliza. And Chris Eliza wants us to know why Texas Democrats are doomed to fail. Well, Chris, you and I may be on the same page here. I guess we'll find out. The visuals were powerful. 2 chartered planes. Yes, the powerful image of
a bunch of cowards flying away at fucking speed, at high speed,
on private jets.
Yeah,
to Washington D.C. Oh, it was powerful. Yes. Oh, how dramatic. Anyway, the visuals were powerful. 2 chartered planes taking off from Texas and landing in the nation's capital, filled with Democratic legislators fleeing a Republican attempt to pass one of the nation's most stringent voting bills. But the political reality for those Democrats, and for voting rights advocates around the country, is significantly grimmer. There is almost no way for this strategy to succeed. Okay, what strategy? Yeah, that is not a strategy. It's not like a tactical retreat on the battlefield or something where you're going to regroup and come around, try to flank them or something. This is not a strategy. This is a stunt. That's it.
He's talking about it as if it is a legitimate political tactic. Like it's something that, all politicians do at some place. It's just, they whip this out whenever they get a chance or whatever. No, this is not a legitimate political tactic. This is them running away from their responsibilities.
Yeah. And after this, I have something to show in contrast, but we'll get to that momentarily. Let's see. What Democrats did in leaving the state is rob Republicans in the Texas legislature of a quorum, a term signifying when there are enough members present for the legislative body to do its business. Texas Republicans pledged to do everything they could to find a legislative workaround for the lack of a quorum, but it's possible that if Texas Democrats stay in D.C. that the clock will run out on the special session Governor Greg Abbott called to pass this election bill, and a few other measures. And then once they come back to Texas, two things are going to happen probably. One, they'll either be arrested or Greg Abbott will call another special session. I mean, he can do that. That's why I call it a special session. That would mean that these Texas Democrats would spend almost a month away from home and the state. If they return to Texas, Abbott could have them arrested and forced back to the state house, which is a long time. Thanks, Chris. But let's say they do it. Stay away from Texas until the special session expires. What happens next? Abbott simply calls another special session. Yeah, this is a pointless exercise and just actually, as far as exercises go, an exercise in cowardice.
Yeah. If that does happen, if they stay for the whole month and he calls another special session, how much you want to bet the media is going to be like, what a bunch of cowards. Why would he do that? He's just keeping them out there longer.
Here's what the governor told a local TV station Monday night, quote, I can and I will continue to call a special session after special session after special session all the way up until election next year. And so if these people want to be hanging out wherever they're hanging out on this taxpayer-paid junket, they're going to have to be prepared to do it for well over a year. As soon as they come back to Texas, they'll be arrested. They'll be cabined inside the Texas Capitol until they get their job done, unquote. Back to Chris. Yes. That's a great sentence, Chris. Thanks so much. Editor-at-large for CNN. Yes.
Notice he didn't have an actual opinion on that or, some type of commentary on whether or not they should be doing that or how deplorable or if it's some kind of Trumpian tactic. Nothing. He got no opinion on them actually doing this.
Abbott has the power to just keep calling special sessions for the foreseeable future, which would force the Texas House members who fled the state on Monday to stay away from the state for potentially months, which is simply not practical. Well, I mean, the taxpayers foot in the bill here, Chris. So, you can't stay away forever, and Republicans are well positioned. They control the governorship as well as both state legislative chambers to wait Democrats out. Texas and national Democrats know that, of course, which what their flight to Washington on Monday is really about is A, drawing national attention to the voting bill in the state, which does nothing. B, buying themselves some time to strategize. There's nothing they are going to be able to do. And C, giving themselves the only sort of leverage they can have in a state legislature totally dominated by the opposing party. What leverage? They didn't have any leverage before they left. That's why they left, because they have no leverage. The best case scenario for Texas Democrats currently holed up in Washington is that sometime in the next week or two, they enter into negotiations with Republican leaders in the state house about what, in terms of legislative concessions, might bring them back to the state to vote. I mean, it's possible, but I'll tell you what. Now, I'm not a Texan, but I have family in Texas. I have a little bit, at least through osmosis, of an idea of the attitude of Texans. And if you take Texas Republicans negotiating with what they will see as political terrorists and cowards, I don't think the Democrats have any leverage here. Because the Republicans in Texas, they can clock out and go home to their families. The Democrats in D.C. got to sit there all by themselves away from their homes and everything else looking like a bunch of scaredy cats. If that happens, and much would depend on Republicans' willingness to placate Democrats on at least some of the issues in this voting bill, Texas Democrats can declare victory and likely count all of the fundraising dollars they raised from being in the national spotlight. The worst case scenario is that Republicans refuse to budge on their voting bill, and Abbott makes good with his threat to just keep calling special sessions, forcing Democrats to stay out of the state for a long time. Professional journalist, everyone. Either way, this ends the same. The bulk of the voting bill gets passed. In the former scenario, Democrats may at least be able to claim that their flight accomplished something, watering down some of the most restrictive parts of the bill. In the latter case, they would just be the surefire losers in a war of attrition that Abbott and his Republican allies in the state legislature are very well positioned to win. All of which means that the best outcome for Democrats is a moral victory, which isn't the same thing as an actual victory. There's no moral victory here. No. This is just stupid.
Well, the fact that he even said that, and the fact that he had no comment, no commentary or opinion about, that behavior at all, already goes to show that he is well within partisan fucking.
Well, no, Satsu. He has an opinion. He has an opinion about politicians running away from a bill signing and everything. I mean, it's an opinion from 2 years ago, and on the other side of the aisle, Oregon Republicans are hiding literally rather than vote on a climate bill.
Did you tag him in that?
A lot of people did. Let's see. How did we get here? Was this fight and the hiding something that had been boiling for a while, or did it just explode out of nowhere? He's talking to somebody about this stuff. Let's see. Let's see, where is it? For the last week, Republican members of the Oregon State Senate have been in hiding, fleeing the state rather than be forced to vote on a climate bill that would put a hard cap on greenhouse gas emissions. The goal? To run out the clock until the legislative session ends at the end of the month, robbing majority Democrats and the Democratic governor of a major priority. How did we get here? Will the Republicans return? And is running away and hiding an effective way to deal with legislation you don't like?
Is it?
Actually, you know what? I might have to take it back. He doesn't give an opinion here. He just asks the same questions. Well,
interesting.
I stand corrected. I was from the headline, given the everything else.
First off, did he use the term hiding at all in regards to the Democrats? Because it sounded like he called it a strategy with them.
Well, maybe you can't use hiding here because everybody knows where they went.
I guess.
I don't know if you know where they went in Oregon. Okay, well, I will take the L and walk back my presumption that he had some sort of commentary opinion on the other side of the aisle. But either way, this isn't the first time that this strategy has been employed by either side of the aisle. It's a stupid strategy, no matter what. You don't run away from your job. And if you abandon your responsibilities as an elected official to represent your constituents in a vote, then you should quit. I don't care which party you're with. You are there to vote and be the voice and representative of your constituents, whether you're going to win the vote or not. That's it. And if you don't win this time, well, that's because you lost. And that's democracy, if you can believe it.
One thing I'm curious about, have they asked Biden to comment on this whole situation?
I don't know.
Because I
don't know. I know Kamala Harris was standing in line with the Democrats. Yeah.
Because it seems a little odd that Kamala has come out and said something, but it doesn't seem like anybody's even extended the effort to be like, hey, Biden, you talk a lot about our democracy being in danger. Mm-hmm. What do you think about this happening in the country that you're running right now?
Thank you, Cryptic. Mountains aren't just funny. They're hill areas.
Hill areas. All right.
Did you get it?
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Okay. Thank you, Cryptic. Okay, we're going to move on from that to one more here, and then I have a special item to round out the news. Let's see. Civil rights leaders say Biden fell short on outlining action steps to end filibuster. Can you imagine why that might be?
Because things didn't go the Democrats' way.
Well, while black civil rights leaders lauded President Joe Biden for taking a strong stance against voter suppression in his speech Tuesday, they said the president still fell short of meeting their demand to discuss the need to eliminate or reform the filibuster. And yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Biden, get rid of a tool that's useful to you for our benefit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. I'll get right on that.
And isn't it interesting how you've got people on the left arguing that the filibuster, the thing that can stop a vote from happening, should be eliminated, while Texas Democrats are escaping having to take a vote.
Yeah.
To stop a vote from occurring. Yeah, which is effectively a filibuster. So.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So anybody praising the Texas Democrats and saying the filibuster needs to go away, you should really ask them where they actually stand on the whole issue. During his address, Biden called on Congress to pass both the For the People and John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act to block the nationwide assault on voting rights. Yes, guys, there's an assault on voting rights. Whose rights are being taken away? Don't know. However, Biden did not mention the need to end the filibuster, which has made it impossible for Democrats to move forward with voting rights legislation because their slim majority in the Senate isn't enough to overcome GOP opposition. That's called democracy. Quote, I would have liked to have heard him say process should be not. Let me try this again. I would have liked to have heard him say process should not be more important than people. Okay. Process should not be more important than people. I hate to tell you this. The legislature is a process. The process is the point. Okay, said Melanie Campbell, president of the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation. Quote, and process should not get in the way of the right to vote in this country. Whose rights are being taken away? I'm still waiting for the answer to that.
Yeah, that nobody has an answer.
Whose rights are being denied them?
Well, it's always weird because, like, in the rare case that somebody does attempt to explain it, because I've asked people before, like, whose rights are being taken away? Because they'll say definitively, these people's rights are being taken away. Their right to vote is being taken away. And I'm like, okay, well, how? And they're like, well, it's a little complicated because technically they could. I'm like, no, stop. Stop it right now.
we're getting right into the other defund the police argument again.
Yeah, like cut that shit out. You specifically and exclusive, like you said specifically, they are losing their right to vote. So who? It's very simple.
Let's see. Still, Campbell said Biden's speech was, quote, pretty strong overall. Quote, what I liked was the fight in him. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can't say that. You can't say that. That's incitement. That's incitement.
He said fight. Remember, only fucking terrorist white supremacists use the word fight.
What I liked was the fight in him. He came strong and laid out how we got here, Campbell said. You mean the fight except for him backing down on the whole filibuster thing? Okay. Biden's speech was criticized by the founders of Black Voters Matter. I've never heard of that organization, but okay. Which led a bus tour across the country last month. I've, again, never heard it. To educate the public about voting. Hey, public, did you know that we vote in this country?
No idea.
Lobby for equal voting access and empower people to join their efforts. Equal voting access. Okay. Quote, good speech, so where's the strategy? Hashtag end the filibuster now, unquote. Black Voters Matter co-founder Latasha Brown tweeted. Well, I'm not particularly a fan of a one-act play that can end all discussion or any votes or make complete gridlock in the legislature. I'm of two minds on the whole filibuster thing. Primarily, I'm like, I just want to see it go away just to see if they do it to themselves.
Yeah, just like a... Oh, yeah, I forgot. We could actually use this thing.
Yeah. I mean, and we've talked about this so many times in the past. Whenever there's something that's going to be employed by one side of the aisle against the other side of the aisle, the side that is about to become the victim of that thing is like, this needs to stop. This needs to end. The Electoral College is unfair. The filibuster is unfair. The judicial veto is unfair. And then imagine if you actually took it away or changed it or something or altered it, and then you ended up on the other side of the equation the next time around. You'd be begging for it back.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democrats know this. The Republicans know this. So I would love to see them in the filibuster. I would love it. I think it's stupid. It's stupid that just one guy can stand up and say filibuster, or basically just whatever the hell the procedure is. They don't even have to stand up there and do the whole, like, Mr. Smith goes to Washington and actually just stand there and talk out the clock by themselves, like in the olden days as a symbolic thing. Yeah, I'd love to see it go away. That would stop a whole lot of this nonsense and actually get us having things get done. Whether you like them or not, that's not the point. Just like in Texas, if you got more votes, democracy. So I would love to see the Democrats do this, because 4 or 5 years from now, when they're in the minority again, across the board, they're going to be crying their eyes out that they don't have it. But that's why Biden has not brought it up or been pushing it or anything else, because he knows that. It's a simple equation. And I'm surprised that anybody would be saying end the filibuster now when it is a very, very short-term gain for them. Because, I mean, the Democrats are out of power again, and it's going to happen. Anyway, quote, it's like listening to a doctor describe in the starkest terms how dire your illness is, and then saying, good luck with that, as he escorts you out of the office. Oh, you mean like what Biden did with the whole, like, 16 cents on the dollar for the barbecue thing during the holidays? Yeah. Or like any more support checks or anything else, or, yeah. Black leaders say Biden has not acted swiftly enough on voting rights. Look, I got to at least give him the credit of he's trying to get something passed, but it's not going to get passed because of the filibuster. That's really long and the short. I don't know what swiftly enough would be, because if he had acted on day one to try to push this thing through, the Republicans would still have the filibuster. And they still only have the slimmest majority in the Senate anyway. So it's not... I wouldn't blame him for not acting swiftly. But at any point in the course of his administration, short of after the 2022 elections and somehow the calculus of the Senate changed significantly, there's not much else he could do. Thank you, Cryptic. He who stands with his hands in pockets feels foolish. He who stands with holes in his pockets feels nuts. Thank you, Cryptic. Thank you. Let's see. The group demanded that Biden go into communities and speak about what he was doing to protect voting rights, said Campbell, who attended the meeting. I'm not sure you really want that to happen. I don't know if you really want Joe Biden all by his lonesome in front of your supporters and constituents attempting to speak on multiple occasions in communities. The leaders also urged the Biden administration to do more to push Congress to approve the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Amendment Act. They can't. That's the thing. They need a 2/3 majority. They can't get it. They don't have it. The soonest you could possibly try to do it again, short of the Republicans getting some weird concession from the Democrats on whatever the thing is after the 2022 elections. That's it. If the balance of power in the Senate shifts significantly enough to give the Democrats the advantage, then possibly so. Unless or until that happens, or unless or until the filibuster is eliminated, not going to happen. That's reality. There's nothing. Look, again, I'll give Biden credit on this. There's nothing Biden can do about that. There's no end run about this, short of him eliminating the filibuster. And he's not going to do it. So that's just the reality of the politics. There's not to tell you. Thank you, Cryptic. My girlfriend's asinine. Her face a 10. Her face. Oh, her face a 10. Okay. I get it. Asinine is one of Monkey's favorite words.
Yeah, he loves that word.
He loves that word. He does. Okay. Briefly, just because I wanted to bring this up, I was thinking the other day, what shall I do for my next Sunday stream? And I was like, gosh, what's going on with Hive Diversity, the app that supposedly helps companies create diverse workforces? And the short answer is nothing. At least nothing in the press. But they did put up a new thing on their they have a tab on their webpage called Buzz, where like all the times that they're mentioned in an article or in a newspaper or something, they post a link to, right? Well, there's one on there that's brand new that was from Business Insider. And I was like, ooh, what's in Business Insider? It's very brief. I already read it, so I already know what I'm going to be looking at. But I just want to read it to see if it makes any more sense to anyone else than it made to me. Okay. Hive Diversity is leveraging tech to help firms find more diverse entry-level talent. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know more about Hive Diversity, deep dive on Hive Diversity, there's a playlist on my channel about Hive Diversity. I've done a couple of live streams on them. I still find it fascinating in just how very little they ever say about what they do. Byron Slosar, a 15-year veteran career advisor and recruiter, launched the app Hive Diversity in October, as in October 2020, to connect employers in finance and tech with a diverse pool of entry-level talent. Except that it wasn't in finance and tech, it was in retail and fashion in the beginning. But I don't know why they're not saying that here. Anyway, okay, now here's the part that I can't get. So Satsu, I'm going to read this. You tell me if it makes any sense, okay? 25% of investment banking analysts come from the same top 10 schools. A report from the finance forum Wall Street Oasis showed. A number Hive seeks to change by offering career preparation courses and workshops led by employers, as well as a free automated resume builder for students regardless of their college.
What?
Okay, so let me just read that first sentence, this first part of that sentence. 25% of investment banking analysts come from the same top 10 schools. Okay, what's the reverse of that? 75% don't. So what a number Hive seeks to change? Change to what? You want to make business analysts more come from the top 10 schools or less?
Yeah, that's.
I have absolutely no idea what that's supposed to mean.
Yeah, that's rather cryptic.
Yes. But yeah, so the majority of investment banking analysts come from normal schools. And Hive wants to change the fact that only 25% come from top 10 schools. So you want to take all of them away from top 10 schools? How would your app do that? Well, I don't even. Am I missing something?
Yeah, I don't know how to really interpret that.
The resume building tool. That's not what you guys have described it as in the past. Okay, the resume building tool helps students of all backgrounds better flag their diversity to employers.
Flag their diversity to employers.
See, this has been the grand conundrum to me of Hive Diversity since I found them. I came across them just randomly a few months back. And I have been just desperately trying to understand what is it that they do aside from just being another job search app or another resume form builder app. And the only thing I can think of is that, and there are so many companies that are clients to Hive Diversity. They only started in October, but if you look at their client list on their website, I mean, it reads like a Fortune 500 short list, right? The only thing I can think of, and I've said this on the streams before, is that these corporate clients sign up to have referrals made to them by Hive Diversity, and Hive Diversity through their app sends filtered job applicants to their training pools or whatever. So that it's not the company specifically choosing people on the basis of certain attributes. It's just, well, this is the people that Hive Diversity recommended. Doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
I don't have any other idea as to, because they state, we're here to help corporations achieve a diverse workforce. And just like we talked about last night with what possible other mechanism could there be to reach that goal except, and I can't think of another one. So anyway, yeah, you can find this on their website. I think it's just called Hello Hive or something. Anyway, just look up Hive. If you look up Hive Diversity on YouTube, my videos are the top results. They do not have a YouTube channel. They don't. It's amazing. They don't have a Twitter account. They don't have a YouTube channel. Boggles my mind. But hey, better for me, I guess. Let's see. Thank you, Cryptic, again. I was tired of the fascist dictator who ran the Bird Imitators Society, so I took control with a violent coup. Oh, I have a feeling, I might be wrong. I have a feeling that Cryptic heard about what happened when Keeverdam dropped a particularly terrible pun on me on my last TED Excellence. I think he's trying to goad me into doing that same thing for him.
I don't know, but this is painful.
Anyway, we're going to move on to the wonderful world of MSS News. Guys, if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise to get to them all. That's because I spent too much time on Hive Diversity. Let's see. Okay, this one comes from Lee Gardner. It's a nature story, Satsu.
Oh, fun.
You ready for a nature story?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now let me pull it up here. And what happened to all the Texas horned lizards? Tinker Air Force Base and the Oklahoma City Zoo are working to find out. They got too horny and went to mate? I don't know. You probably used to see them all the time. No, but maybe not so much anymore. Texas horned lizards. Climate change. I'm going to guess climate change. Or climate change will be mentioned in this article. How about that?
Sure, why not?
Tinker Air Force Base and the Oklahoma City Zoo have partnered to learn more about these tiny creatures and prevent them from being lost forever. In the tall grass on Tinker is where dozens of them live, but their small stature doesn't make them easy to spot. But thankfully, Raymond Moody, a natural resource biologist at Tinker Air Force Base, and Sam Alitis, PhD candidate at OU, have some help. Trackers. Quote, so we have something called harmonic radar diodes that are on our smallest lizards. And they are small pieces of metal with an antenna on the end that we're able to attach to lizards of any size because they weigh very little. Then we have other trackers that are larger and have batteries or even solar-powered components on them, so we're able to use a little more precise technologies to track them down. For years, Tinker has been studying the lizards and recently joined up with the Oklahoma City Zoo to learn more about them. Okay. Well, I hope they're not all dying out because of something. And I was wrong. Climate change is not listed anywhere in here. So, okay. Well, hopefully they find out the mystery. Thank you, Cryptic. Did you hear about the guy who went to Halloween with a potato in his pants? He went as a dictator. I mean, we there's not crickets involved, but, maybe horny toads are around somewhere.
Cryptic, you should be this corny on my nights.
All right. Well, moving on to, from senior corner correspondent, Frosted Glass. What's this all about? Well, this is teen facing a year in jail after stomping on Back the Blue sign. What? A hate crime? For stomping on what? And what may be first for a state, a teenager in Utah is being accused of committing a hate crime against police after allegedly crumpling, stomping on, and then throwing a Back the Blue sign into the trash. I mean, part of me says turnabout is fair play, but no. I wouldn't want somebody going to jail for stomping out a like Black Lives Matter sign, unless there was like an assault that occurred in the process. That'd be different. So no. The unidentified woman, 19, in Garfield County, Utah, was arrested on July 7th and charged with disorderly conduct and criminal mischief, according to charging documents provided to Vice News. Police are also attempting to use the state's recently expanded hate crime laws to upgrade the charges against her, although it's not clear whether she's been officially charged yet. I'm not so sure I'm on board with this any more than I would be if somebody was stomping on a Black Lives Matter sign. Her arrest may be the first instance of a hate crime enhancement being brought against someone accused of committing a crime against a member of law enforcement since the state made that possible in 2019. Well, first off, hate crime as a category is just ridiculous on its face, but this doesn't help anything. It's unclear if the enhancement bumps up the charge to an actual hate crime under Utah law or changes the seriousness of the charge. Isn't that the same thing? If the enhancement bumps up the charge to an actual hate crime or changes the seriousness of the charge.
Yeah, those do seem like the same thing.
I don't know. The Garfield County Sheriff's Office told Vice News Monday that the woman has since been released from jail. When asked for further comment about the charges, the Sheriff's Office forwarded questions to the Garfield County Attorney's Office, which did not immediately respond. The incident took place at a gas station in the city of Panguitch, according to KSL Radio. According to the outlet, a sheriff's deputy was leaving the scene of a traffic stop where he ticketed a driver for speeding. As nearby friends consoled the driver for being ticketed for speeding? Okay. Consoled? As nearby friends consoled the driver, one of them, a 19-year-old with the Back the Blue sign, caught the officer's eye. Okay. The woman was stomping on the sign while smirking, quote, in an intimidating manner, the officer wrote in the arrest document, according to that. Okay, first off, consoling somebody for getting a traffic ticket. But smirking in an intimidating manner?
You know, like the Covington kids.
Exactly. Quote, due to the demeanor displayed by the woman in attempts to intimidate law enforcement while destroying a pro-law enforcement sign, the allegations are being treated as a hate crime enhanced. Come on.
I mean, look.
Come on.
The description that they gave is definitely something I can see somebody doing, you know, stomping on it and looking at the police like, fuck you, dude. But it's just like,
that's nonsense.
So
that is, so what? Come on. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not a particular fan of vilifying police officers because they're police officers. But this goes right up there with she didn't touch the cop. She didn't threaten him. Stomping on a sign is, I hate to tell you this, that's in First Amendment territory right there. I mean, short of her having assaulted someone, which is a completely different thing, in the process of obtaining the sign, because I don't know where the sign came from, stomping on a sign, no. Sorry.
Yeah, the worst thing I can say about this situation is they made their bed, you know?
Well, okay, and like I said, you know, turnabout's fair play, except for the fact that fundamentally I disagree that you should criminalize something like that. Even if it's somebody doing something like stomp. I mean, if you're stomping on a Black Lives Matter sign, I wouldn't say they should go to jail. Stomping on a police Back the Blue sign, I don't think they should go to jail. I mean, yeah, sure, it's the world they created if you want to think of it in those terms, but that would be a Pyrrhic victory at best. I'm not.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, I still don't support it, but I'm just like, I mean,
yeah.
Am I supposed to feel bad for the people who asked for this? I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's that. I mean, that's the only way you learn the lesson of, maybe we should just not criminalize things that are effectively both, victimless, quote unquote, crimes and also exercises in free speech. So anyway, moving on from this one. Let's see. This one comes from Sean Uli. If this one comes up here. Appeals court rules firearms dealers can sell handguns to 18-year-olds. Well, if 18-year-olds can go join the military and go off to fight wars, it's been the same old argument for a long time, right? If you can vote, if you can go to war, why shouldn't you be able to drink and so on? A 53-year-old law preventing federally licensed firearms. Somebody's revving their engine outside. A 53-year-old law preventing federally licensed firearms dealers from selling handguns or handgun ammunition to adults under the age of 21 is unconstitutional, a federal appeals court ruled Tuesday. A divided panel on the Richmond, Virginia-based Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals overturned a Virginia federal judge's ruling upholding the Federal Gun Control Act of 1968. Quote, when do constitutional rights vest? At 18 or 21, 16 or 25? Why not 13 or 33? Asked U.S. Circuit Court Judge Julius Richardson in his ruling. Quote, in the law, a line must sometimes be drawn, but there must be a reason why constitutional rights cannot be enjoyed until a certain age. Our nation's most cherished constitutional rights vest no later than 18, and the Second Amendment's right to keep and bear arms is no different, unquote. Richardson, who was appointed to the bench by former President Donald Trump, went on to note that 18 to 20-year-olds, quote, enjoy almost every other constitutional right, and they were required at the time of the founding to serve in militia and furnish their own weapons. Despite the weighty interest in reducing crime and violence, we refuse to relegate either the Second Amendment to 18 to 20-year-olds to a second-class status. or 18 to 20-year-olds with sunglass dads. The rules stem from a lawsuit brought by 19-year-old Natalia Marshall, a University of Virginia student who said she wanted a handgun as protection from an abusive ex-boyfriend. While the Gun Control Act of 1968 bars handgun purchases from licensed dealers, Americans aged 18 and over are still permitted under federal law to purchase handguns from a private party. They also are allowed to buy long guns from a dealer. Okay, so it was just... What?
I said I'll be right back.
Satsu drank too much water.
Shush.
Yes, Satsu he's a water baby now. He's full of fluid. He's very hydrated. There's a joke somewhere in there, but I can't think of it right now. Okay. Well, ta-da. I don't know. Gun control issues are a much longer conversation, and I'm kind of discussing them. So, okay. Doesn't change a whole heck of a lot. Just licensed firearms dealers rather than private individuals and stuff. So, all right. Let's see. Moving on. If this story will come up. Thank you for coming up, story. This one comes from the Demon Man 57. I think a lot of people saw this on Twitter and such the last day or two.
Okay, I'm back there.
You really need to start using that mute mic button on the actual interface.
Well, I was in a hurry.
TikTok video shows woman on American Airlines plane duct taped to her seat. The airline says she tried to open the door mid-flight. I saw a lot of people complaining that she was being mistreated or tortured or something. And I'm like, did you read what she was trying to do? Yeah, they needed to restrain that lady. She was nuts and putting everybody in mortal danger. She got everything she deserved there. Let's see. A TikTok video shows a woman duct taped to her seat on an American Airlines flight after an incident in which the airline says she attacked flight attendants and attempted to open the plane's front door. The video was filmed on American Airlines Flight 1774, which was traveling from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas to Charlotte, North Carolina on Tuesday. In the video, filmed by the TikTok user LOL Airy, an unidentified woman in first class can be seen with duct tape around her chest and mouth as she attempts to scream at passengers who are departing the plane after it landed. In a follow-up video, LOL Airy said the commotion started 1 hour into the 2-hour flight when, quote, all flight attendants were running up and down the aisles, frantically kind of like whispering to each other, unquote. The crew began locking bathrooms and started grabbing bags from overhead bins, but wouldn't say exactly what was happening. Quote, it was just kind of like chaos and no one knows what's going on, the TikTok user continued. The pilot eventually spoke over the intercom and asked people to stay in their seats because of a, quote, bad situation in the plane, but did not elaborate, according to la la la. As the plane was landing, a flight attendant who sat near the passengers said a woman, quote, had an outburst and attempted to get off the plane. Quote, she was saying, I need to get off this plane. And she went up to the exits and started banging on the door saying, you need to let me off this plane. The woman apparently started biting, spitting, and attacking flight attendants, prompting the crew to, quote, take her down and duct tape her mouth. The video, which has been viewed more than 4 million times, shows a police officer and medical personnel waiting by the plane's entrance as other passengers depart the cabin upon landing. An American Airlines representative told Insider in an emailed statement that the woman, quote, attempted to open the forward boarding door and physically assaulted, bit, and caused injury to a flight attendant. We applaud our crew for their professionalism and quick effort to protect those on board. Nutbag. Mixed bag of nuts. Thank you, Sean Uli. Guess what? I have my 3rd cancer. Merkel cell carcinoma that has spread to a lymph node. Prayers will be appreciated. Glory be to God. Oh, Sean. Dude. Oh, boy. Well, I don't know what to say, dude. Just rest up, get the medicine if you can get it. And I mean, saying best of luck sounds so lame, but I don't know what else to say.
Well, Sean Uli's he's a fucking gangster. He got through the first 2, so I think he'll pull through.
Third time's the charm. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody sends some good vibes to Sean there. That's terrible. Fingers crossed, dude. Yeah, and if you got anything set up, fundraiser or otherwise, just let me know, and we'll get on that. Let's see. I'm gonna call that there, guys. On the news. I think we'll move on. Two other stuff. Thank you guys for the stories. Sorry I didn't get to them all. Satsu, what have you been up to on the YouTubes?
Well, like I said, I finished my school stuff. Whatever, I got that done. Working on the third installment in the series that I was talking about for my cooking channel. And that's kind of been it. I mean, I did attempt to record some of the gaming thing or whatever, but I told you guys the issues I was having with that. So I'm still trying to strategize around that and see what's going on. Otherwise, just kind of really been laser focused on school.
Okay. Well, as for myself, I put together today's wonderful theme for the show, which is, well, Sith Lords. I'm a Star Wars nerd. Other than that, I have to look at what shall I do for TEDx this week. Would you like to hear the titles I'm looking at, Satsu?
Oh, you're going to read them.
Oh, yeah. All right. So originally, now, again, as I suspected, I had one kind of already picked out I was probably going to do. But TEDx, man, thy cup runneth over, and other options appeared. So here's what I was, or might still, I don't know, you tell me. This is what I was thinking about. Why we should blend the personal and professional. We talked about this a little bit last night or the night before, whatever. Not the night before because that was Sunday. Or was yesterday Sunday, Satsu?
Yesterday was definitely Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, so I've talked about this many, many times. The bring your whole self to work, bring your authentic self to work, professional distance, the deterioration thereof. So this lady purportedly has an argument for why we should blend the personal and professional. And so that obviously caught my attention. The TEDx clocks in just like 6 seconds under 20 minutes, which is an amazingly long time for a TEDx. It also looks like something that she's broadcasting from her desk in her office. And that's the only reason why the two that popped up today are really grabbing my attention. So Satsu, I want you to take a moment. And I want you to digest these titles, okay? I know nothing else about these except the titles. Here we go. Co-decolonization as spiritual activism, a matter of life and breath.
Okay, I'm starting off with a doozy.
I'm going to do that one more time for those in the cheap seats. Co-decolonization as spiritual activism, a matter of life and breath. I have absolutely no idea what any of that means.
That last part makes me think it's
George Floyd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, But you're going to love the next one. So yeah, this is the third of three that I'm considering. All right, you ready?
Uh-huh.
Prepare yourself. Melodic racism, children's songs, and white supremacy.
Oh, God.
TEDx, everybody. Okay, so just because of the mystery of it, I'm kind of leaning on co-decolonization. Because I know what the first one is about, why we should blend the personal and professional. At least I know the topic. I know what the third one is about. Like she's going to say, old nursery rhymes are based in old racist whatevers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary. She's going to tell me that, the real Mary from Mary, quite contrary was actually the daughter of a plantation owner. And so something like that. That's what I assume is going to happen in that one. But co-decolonization as spiritual activism, it's singing to me. No pun intended to the other one, but I don't know. So, hey, chat, if you have any opinions on that, by all means, throw them out there. I'm going to be struggling with that between now and Thursday as to which I should do, unless, of course, something even more amazing gets posted by TEDx in the meantime, which is entirely possible. But those are the ones that I'm looking at right now. But beyond that, I still don't know what I'm going to do for my Sunday stream. Haven't given it much thought yet. I'll probably give it more thought by the end of the week because I'll be doing some work on Saturday, so that'll be taking up some of my time. So I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Do we want to do Satsu, do you want to do fucketry or do you want to do something else?
It depends on what that something else is.
Well, it might be educational.
That scares me.
Well, I think it'll be educational.
Well, I don't really have any fucketry, so.
Well then, let's learn about cultural norms of white supremacy, defensiveness. Are you ready?
Oh no! I like you said that last word, so it took a little more to register. But now I'm really not ready.
Hi, I'm Judy Blair.
Oh, it's
Hi, Judy.
Again.
Yeah, it's Judy Blair. It's anti-racism hoodie lady.
It's sour cream lady. Hi.
Yeah, I'm blinded by the white. Oh. And also the bad lighting on her glasses. It wouldn't be a Judy Blair diverse city video without bad lighting on her glasses. And the blatant hoodie.
And I'm an anti-racism consultant specializing in working with white folks.
Oh, I'm so glad. I am your core audience. I am. Okay, tell me more.
I'm also a member of the team at Diverse City, and I'm really excited to be bringing you this video series.
You look really excited. Can't you tell she's excited?
Oh, she looks very excited.
She's practically glowing.
In this series, we're taking a look at 15 different aspects of white supremacy culture.
That's right.
Now, when I say white supremacy in this context, I'm not talking about white supremacists, I'm not talking about Proud Boys or white nationalists. I'm talking about white supremacy as an idea that elevates whiteness.
Yeah, which isn't at all what white supremacists believe. Talking about the ideology. I'm not talking about individual people. I'm not talking about white supremacists. I'm talking about the belief that white is elevated, which isn't white supremacy. Yeah.
Makes it the default, the assumed, or the ideal.
Okay, now did you just steal the same opening from the last video we looked at?
This is the exact same fucking opening.
Yeah, I think she just decided to dupe that because this is a different video.
In our culture. The 15 aspects that we're discussing in this video series come from a list published in 1999 by Tema Okun, an anti-racist
I see
trainer
what's
and
going on.
activist.
Okay.
The list itself is a culmination of work by multiple people, including Tema, but also including Kenneth Jones, Daniel Buford, James Williams, Sharon Martinez.
This is the exact. Okay.
Well, yeah, they're doing this whole like. It doesn't matter where you start in this series, you'll hear this, so just to make sure you hear this.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I didn't. This isn't the same thing we looked at last time, right? I'm just double checking myself because I'm kind of like, okay, hold on a second. No, the one we looked at was.
It wasn't defensiveness.
No, it was white supremacy and a sense of urgency. That was the last one. Yeah, sense of urgency. Because this one was posted just today. So yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure because I was getting kind of cagey for a second because it's like, are we repeating ourselves? A little bit she is, obviously. Thank you, Cryptic. Frosted Glass. See, I've been conditioned to think I'm just... Anyway. Diverse City. Did Cryptic think up the title? That's probably when my brain went to Cryptic. No. Dr... Oh, what'd she call herself? Dr. CG or something? Anyway, the lady that runs the whole organization. I've done a video on her before. Yeah, or CI, Dr. CI. She's like, that means something because it's her initials. But anyway.
And others. Over the past 2 decades, the list has served as a useful framework for recognizing, disrupting, and dismantling white supremacy in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, this is exactly the same opening. Okay.
Now, I want to be really clear here.
Uh-huh.
The values and norms this video series is addressing are not exclusive to Western white culture.
Yeah, I see. I feel myself about to say something. I'm like, we did this already.
Mm-hmm.
So just pardon me while I play up my pause game for the sake of transformative work.
And they're not inherently bad or good.
Uh-huh.
They are merely often invisible ways of being
Uh-huh.
that are part of our socialization.
Microaggressions.
If we want to create a more just and equitable world,
Uh-huh.
we have to interrogate these values when we notice them coming up.
Yes.
Checking to see if an alternate way of being might provide better, more equitable results.
Uh-huh.
A word of caution.
There goes
These
the echo
norms
of
should not be
Scribe's
taken
ultimate
as a
way of
checklist
being
behaviors
statement.
to eliminate.
Sorry, you're talking over each other. What would you say?
I said the echoes of Scribe's ultimate, alternate state of being statement just came through when she said that shit again.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's so weird. It's having like these deja vu moments.
Yeah, I wasn't too concerned about talking over her now. She's just
I
repeating
know.
the same shit.
I know. I couldn't understand you was the problem. Is like,
These norms should not be taken as a checklist of behaviors to eliminate, with the alternatives enshrined as the cure for all that ails us. Critical analysis and weighing of these norms when they crop up is vital.
you know, why even post? So half of this video is the exact same half as the first video.
Yep.
Lazy. Is lazy a value that you don't seek to eliminate?
Well,
There is no
I'm about to say the good side is whenever we watch videos from her, we know to just skip half.
That's true. Yeah. If I knew this ahead of time, I would have skipped past all the repetitive stuff.
shortcut to uprooting white supremacy.
Okay.
Each video in this series focuses on one aspect of the list.
I wish it would, because you're not doing anything but repeating yourself from about 2 weeks ago.
And today's
Hey.
aspect is
Make sure when she finishes this bullshit, we timestamp it, chat.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so yeah.
defensiveness.
Okay, so 2 minutes and approximately, we'll say 12 seconds, because she got into the new segment. Okay. So 2:12. If I ever, and I don't know that I will, but if we ever see Judy again, whatever his name is, remember 2:12 is the timestamp into the video where we have to skip to before we get to the actual subject. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Defensiveness is partly our lizard brain, right? It's that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn section of our brain.
Which is inherent to humans, regardless of skin color.
Nah, man. Just white people.
Okay.
That says, oh my gosh, am I under attack? Do I need to defend myself here?
Well, I don't know. Am I being accused of being a racist falsely? Or am I being accused of something that I'm innocent of?
Well, if it's racism, you can't be innocent of it. Not you.
Oh, right.
And so that part of it is something that we will never be able to get rid of. But what we can do is recognize it and then move past it, maybe a little bit more quickly than we did last time.
Why should I?
So wait. Recognize the fact that you falsely accused me of something and then move past it faster than I did before.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's that. She hasn't said that yet,
I mean,
but that's the implication. Thank you, John Migda. I wake and wow. You wake and wow? Like, wow?
like World of Warcraft?
Or like
Wowie, wow, wow.
that kind of wow? Okay.
Defensiveness as a part of our culture shows up really entwined with perfectionism.
Wait a minute. Defense. Okay, she said every human being has this defense mechanism that turns on and there's no way to get rid of it. And then she immediately says defensiveness is a part of culture.
And perfectionism?
Yeah.
Defensiveness is okay. I can't wait to hear this theory.
Because when we're told that we've done something wrong,
Yeah.
or we didn't have all the information that we needed for something, i.e. the thing we did wasn't perfect, we will defend ourselves.
Okay. Well, being fair, we've talked about this before. Remember, we had the long conversation about taking the L, even though it's a difficult thing to do, right?
Right.
Okay. Yes. In our human egos and our desire to not be in the wrong and not be the bad guy and so on and so forth. Yes, it is a difficult thing to do, to admit you're wrong when you've been shown you're wrong. granted that what is being shown to you is actual evidence of wrongdoing. That's the differential there. But
our brains are wired to pick apart arguments that are giving us negative feedback.
Well, okay. Here's my question to you then. How do you tell the difference between someone who is defending themselves against being called out for something they've done wrong and somebody protesting their innocence?
Well, Scribe,
Yes.
the answer will be quite familiar. Look at their skin color.
Oh, right. White. Oh, God. You know, she gave away the ending at the beginning. It's like one of those Christopher Nolan movies. Okay.
And so we have to stop for a moment when we feel that happening.
And when you talk about we,
You mean white people?
you're talking about me and you. Okay. All right.
We very often feel it in our bodies.
We.
Think about where you have felt defensive-ness.
Me.
Do your shoulders go up? Does your heart start to race?
I could have said something very unfamily right there, but I stopped myself.
Good job.
Yeah.
Do you feel it in your stomach?
Oh, lady, you are really, really. Oh God, the doors.
Do you feel it in your stomach, ma'am?
Yeah, there's that too. There's also a wide door open for something raunchy to be said there.
Oh,
You
jeez.
just get all nauseated and terrible.
Do you shit yourself?
All of those things could be true. Those are all clues for us that defensiveness is happening.
Or you're being accused of something you didn't do. That happens too. I'd love to ask, lady, have you ever been in a situation where you have been accused and or held accountable for something that you honestly did not do? And what did that experience feel like? And now how do you compare those sensations to quote unquote being unjustifiably defensive?
I feel like if you asked her that question genuinely, especially if the question was tied to racism or something, she would probably respond with, well, how do you know that what you did wasn't what they accused you of? Like, how could you know that with your white ignorance?
Yeah.
If a dark person is telling you did something wrong, then that's pretty definitive, right? Like, why would you question that?
If we're able to move past defensiveness, we can recognize the learning opportunity that we've been presented.
Oh, if only we would get past our egos, we would see that we're being educated. It's an opportunity to learn. Learn how terrible we are when somebody tells me I'm terrible. Yeah. Oh, man, I tell me more, oh, sage wisdom.
The gift of feedback that probably...
Feedback! In my mind, there are air quotes around that. Feedback.
Felt pretty risky to give. And we can appreciate that from the person who gave it to us.
Yeah. You know, when the Witchfinder General comes around and says that you are a daughter of Satan, it's a gift. It really is a gift.
Yeah.
We can learn from that.
So I challenge you. See if you can spot defensiveness when it comes up.
You know what? Here's the perfect question to ask her. Right? This is the perfect question to ask her. So if you're black and you're in a store and somebody yells at you and tells you to come back here, a security guard or whatever, because they accuse you of stealing something, you should just accept that. You should take a moment before you get defensive and stop and think about it for a moment and understand that, of course, you stole something. You're black.
It's an opportunity to learn. Yeah, it's a gift.
It's a learning opportunity.
It's a gift. Oh, Lord.
And then see if you can do something different.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, well, thanks, Judy or Julie or whatever you are. Anti-racist hoodie lady. Thank you so much. I feel so much more enlightened now than I did before.
These videos are worthless.
Well, they're worthless in content, but in entertainment, they've got some value. They have some value. Got some laughs out of it. Let's see. As far as fucketry on my end, aside from that, I'm making good time here. Oh, so Sophane on Twitter, he said this: fact, I used to get confused with Chris Angel so often that I eventually just started signing autographs for people. And then I came up with a little back and forth scenario. So a fan runs up to Sophane and says, "Oh my God, Chris Angel, will you do a magic trick for me?" And then in the script, I called him Chris Fangel. You get it? Yeah. He said, "Sure, I'll make your whole world disappear." What? How would you do that? Suplex! Oh my God. Because, he's a wrestling guy. He's a wrestling fan. That was the joke.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. You were expecting something much more dramatic when I said Sophane on Twitter.
You know what? I don't know what I was really expecting, but as soon as you said he gets mistaken for what did you say, Chris Angels or whatever?
Chris Angel, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like,
I didn't. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I saw what Chris Angel looks like, but roughly speaking, let's see. This goes back to the Texas thing, but one of the Texas Democrats on her Twitter, she said, "We are at the U.S. Capitol today doing the job we were elected to do, fighting for our constituents' constitutional right to vote in free and fair elections. We need federal action in the fight for our right to vote. We need the For the People Act." And I said, "You're denying your constituents' right to have their voices heard by not voting on their behalf. You were not elected to run away from fights you don't think you can win. You were elected to represent, not retreat." That's my little critique there.
I mean, and that's like literal, because they're supposed to literally vote on the way that they believe their constituents would want them to. And for that, you have to fucking vote.
Yep.
Even if you're going to do it.
Even if you're going to lose. That's not the point. It's not a matter of, well, I'm going to lose this vote, so I might as well not even participate. I mean, now see, the normal voter, the average citizen, they can make that call. If they're like, I don't want to vote. Because you see, it's not their job to vote. They were not put in that position by their constituents to do that very thing. So if it's your job to represent your constituents by way of your vote and your voice in whatever, legislative branch or whatever you're in, then you are not doing your job. Quit. Just quit. If you can't face up to the fact that you're going to lose a vote you disagree with, that's not the point. You register the vote that your constituents want you to vote. That's it. And you do your job.
I feel like that comes secondary to the fact that they don't even seem to understand what it is their job is.
Yeah. Let's see. Did I have anything else of excitement here? Well, let's see. Just in the last minute or two, In Human Form had a rebuttal to my comment there. He says, "It's difficult. I assume this means difficult to. It's difficult to properly represent if the opposition is acting in bad faith, which unfortunately they have a history of." That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's beside the point.
That's irrelevant.
That is irrelevant. You're there to vote the way that you were put there to vote, not run away from it. And there are other mechanisms in our process if something is being done in bad faith. But here's the thing. Bad faith in what way? If it's bad faith as in they deceived you, but they're not breaking the rules, that's politics. And that's not me endorsing it for either side, but that's just life. If somebody works within the rules and takes advantage of the loopholes, truth be told, the Democrats will do it in the same instances that they have the opportunity to as the Republicans will. So that kind of washes on itself. But even if they're acting in bad faith, you vote the way that your constituents want you to vote. And presumably, you have some faith in the system, whether it's now, a month from now, 10 years from now, that things will right itself through the courts, through other legislation, and so on. That's just life. It's not fun. It's not always a happy thing to have to go through. But no matter what, if you're there to vote, if you're there to represent, you do it. Either way.
I'd like to understand specifically what he means by acting in bad faith.
Well, yeah, I mean, which unfortunately have a history of. It's like, well, somebody has a bad reputation of XYZ. It's like, okay, they have a bad reputation. Does it apply here, and in what way?
Dude, I don't know of any politicians that don't have a history of acting in bad faith.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's like
Yeah.
Like I say, acting in bad faith. I mean, are Republicans conceivably trying to pass legislation that would ultimately favor them in the next election? Entirely possible. And then tell me how no Democrat has ever taken part in gerrymandering or redistricting or anything else. And that's not to say I'm endorsing either side, but here's the thing. It's part and parcel. And the mechanisms that allow it to happen, we're talking just like the filibuster. Whatever allows the Republicans to construct and pass legislation like this are the same tools the Democrats would use if they were in power in Texas.
Yeah, and have used when they were in power.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, it's one of those things where I'm just kind of having to throw up my hands in the air and just say, this is just sort of my cynical pragmatism. It just, that's life. Unless or until the most honest politicians in the world rise to the top and make changes to the point where you can't, or it's more difficult for things to happen like this. What are you going to do? You know? So
yeah. It's not even reasonable to assume that all of the mechanisms that you have at your disposal that you would use, the opposition would just be like, no, I won't use that. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And besides which, the situation that we're in right now, at least like Texas is in, same situation that was in Oregon 2 years ago. A vote is coming up that the minority in the legislature doesn't think they're going to win, and so they run away. Whatever the merit is of the law that's being put on the table, decide the point. The quote-unquote strategy of cutting and running from your responsibilities, abrogating your job because you don't like what the outcome is probably going to be, doesn't work, and it doesn't help the process at all, and certainly doesn't put any confidence. At least if I were one of those guys' constituents, I wouldn't be voting for him again. I would not put my vote behind somebody that's not going to do their job because they're going to lose. I want them to,
if I agree with them.
Yeah, I want them to vote for me because they know we're going to lose, because I want there to be an actual stated opposition. I want it on the record, as far as my representation is concerned. Anyway, could go on about that for longer. Already did. Let's see. What else did I have real quick? Let's see. We did that. You forgot to mention you posted your onion soup stuff today.
I thought I mentioned that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it glossed over my brain, guys, go check out @Fam2cents on Twitter. I think I got a link in the description. Satsu posted his French onion soup in stages.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, if you follow me on Facebook, you could see like the broth. Not the broth. I made a stock. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I learned that there's a difference between a broth and a stock. I use those words interchangeably for quite some time.
You've been corrected.
There is a difference, but yeah, I posted that over on Facebook, and then just the soup itself is on Twitter.
No one nowhere says who paid for the flight. Taxpayer.
Oh yeah, they're on taxpayer money right now.
Oh, yeah. They're pulling their paychecks. They're getting paid, and they're leaning on the taxpayer dime in their little retreat. And Ebony Williams says, does Abbott have the authority to arrest them for running? He's already stated that's what's going to happen. Once they come back he doesn't have any jurisdiction to send federal marshals out to get them. But he said that as soon as they come back to Texas, whenever that is, they'll be arrested and taken to the House to perform their duties. Whether that means they'll also be given criminal charges, I don't know if that's how that works. But as far as what the powers of the state Senate can do is that they can detain you and bring you back in. It's not usually exercised, but so now will it come to that? I don't know. But if there is a photo shoot at some point of Texas Democrats landing back in Texas and suddenly being put into handcuffs and driven off back to the state capitol, that'd be hilarious. I'm sorry, that'd just be funny. As sad and silly as it is, it would be funny.
But once again, I would imagine the portrayal of such a thing, like the pictures and the photos, one would assume wow, look at this shameful photo, but then the media will be like, look at them fucking fighting the good fight, and these heroes are being drugged back after trying to protect your rights, or some shit like that.
Useless Rebel. Didn't some Republicans do the same thing in 2019? Yeah, Oregon Republicans ran away from a vote on climate laws or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember all the details of that, but either way, stupid tactic then. And then several years ago, Democrats in Wisconsin did a similar thing where they ran off to Illinois or Chicago or something because a vote was taking place in the state legislature that they didn't like. So, I mean, it never works. Unless they had some like crazy leverage, which I can't imagine what it would be. If they don't have enough leverage to stand there and do their jobs and be able to, twist arms in the political sense of the word, to get what they want or to get concessions on the legislation, they're sure as heck not going to get it by running away and looking like idiots.
Well, what this could have done, though, if we want to play a little 4D chess, is this could have secured their jobs. In regards to the type of constituents that we're talking about, they'd probably be like, you were a hero for even trying, so I'm definitely voting for you again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who knows?
Now, on the flip side, if you're a supporter of what the Democrats are doing and you want to now vote for them even more for what they did, well, more power to you. I just think it's. I know that I would not vote for somebody who's just going to give up in the face of a tough situation and run away. Especially when they're being paid to do the exact thing that they're running away from. And then, I mean, seriously, chartering private jets to fly off to D.C. so you can just not...
It's like bringing your older brother to school to beat up your bully and he runs away from him.
I mean, if you really wanted to make it a protest that I could not agree with, but at least disagree with less in your execution of it, you would just say, I'm out sick. And just not show up to work. And if they come to your house in Texas to arrest you or whatever, okay. But running away to D.C. so you can try to say, please, Senate Democrats, you need to pass this voting rights bill so it'll apply across federally and totally overtake the state's laws and everything. And then the Senate Democrats say, we can't do that because the Republicans have the filibuster, kind of what you're exercising now by running from Texas. Anyway, okay. I don't think I have anything left on the fucketry, so let me double check real quick. Oh, so there was this. I don't know who this person is. They got real famous real quick, at least for today, when they posted four images of Samuel L. Jackson from the movie Pulp Fiction. Mm-hmm. And this was the tweet. Everyone talks about Travolta's performance in Pulp Fiction, but y'all slept on Samuel Jackson's performance.
What?
And I'm like, what?
Who did?
Samuel L. Jackson, and maybe this is just being trolling. I don't know. This could be just a troll, but either way, it offended the core of my being when I saw that. I was like, I can almost recite verbatim the Ezekiel 25:17 speech. The whole hamburger thing, that's a tasty burger. Does Marcellus Wallace look like a bitch? All that stuff. He was one of those quotable characters in that movie. What are you talking about? John Travolta. I mean, the significant thing about John Travolta in that movie is that Quentin Tarantino resurrected John Travolta's career from the gutter with that movie. But as memorable as John Travolta's part in that movie was with Mia Wallace and the whole, adrenaline to the heart thing and all that stuff, that was a memorable scene. But man, as far as quotable quotations goes, you don't get better than Jules. So anyway, a lot of people took exception to that, and I was one of them. So there you go. And I think that was all the. One last thing. So. There's a there's a guy at the Washington Post named Jonathan Capehart, and he has a podcast called Cape Up, because I guess that's cool sounding. Anyway, he did an interview with Robin DiAngelo.
Uh-oh.
And the tweet said, Cape Up podcast. Robin DiAngelo explains why white progressives have such a hard time confronting racism. And I said, well, obviously it's because they haven't bought her new book yet. Because she's just on there to promote her new book, which is called Nice Racism. and why silence is part of the problem. Yeah, keep telling self-conscious, self-hating white people that they're still terrible, and they will buy your book until the end of time. She has just cornered the market on self-hate and self-pity. She really has.
And then she just goes home and fucking bathes in her fucking hot tub. The one specifically for money, not actual water. The one she keeps the money in. Mm-hmm. And she just bathes in that shit while watching her exclusively white DVD collection. Like, I don't give a fuck about those Negroes, man. I'm just writing books.
She watches The Blind Side like every night, just going like, "Oh, white savior, yeah." Anyway, we're going to move on to question time, guys. If you have questions, comments, complaints, concerns, conspiracy theories, put them in the chat now. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of chat marks after those. If you have statements for us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, sucks to be you. Travis Gardner, Scribe, don't you find it odd that the Texas Democrats didn't run out on the abortion bills? I hadn't thought of that. Of course, has Texas had many anti-abortion bills lately?
I think I remember recently some kind of abortion stuff going through, but we didn't hear nothing about them running away.
That's true.
So.
That's true. Yeah, no, they didn't run away about that. That's interesting. Yeah, okay. I get. Yeah, where exactly is the line drawn where it's severe enough a situation that you need to physically filibuster everything? Spud Gun, Scribe, it's because they are the racists. Well, yes. I mean, it's why right progressives don't face racism? It's like because they don't want to look themselves in the mirror is probably the problem. I'm sure that's in her book somewhere. Ebony Williams, original Cheetos or Cheetos Puffs? Original Cheetos.
Ooh, it really depends, kind of. Like, I got to be in the mood because both are fucking great.
All right. Spud Gun again. The UK government have brought into law mandatory COVID vaccines for care home workers. Thoughts? I mean, if you work in the medical profession and it's a requirement, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things like, the military are required to have shots regardless of whether they want to or not, just because they're going overseas or for different things to keep them healthy.
Doesn't sound out of bounds to me.
Yeah, given the industry and given the job and the requirements thereof, it seems reasonable, I guess. I mean, admittedly, I'm not a big fan of mandatory inoculations of anything. Again, there's exceptions, military and so on, that I don't have a whole lot of say in or argument with necessarily. But that's the one job where it's like being vaccinated against stuff is kind of part and parcel. So if they don't want it, it's unfortunate that they'd have to basically quit. But
well, I mean, there's a bunch of other, things that you got to be checked out for and get, shots for when you become a doctor anyway, outside of COVID. So.
And the other thing too is that, whatever you think about, the COVID vaccine or otherwise, COVID does do terrible things to the elderly, people with reduced immune systems or pre-existing conditions, which, at the older you get, the more likely you have one or more of those things. So if I'm going to complain about what happened in New York with having COVID infected people left in nursing care facilities, I can't necessarily argue with the people who are going to be treating people in home care or retirement homes or things like that. If that's going to prevent that from happening or spreading or putting people in danger, like there's still a danger, if you're not inoculated, just like with the flu and everything else, there's no perfect system, but I don't think that you'd argue if they said mandatory flu shots for home care workers. So, let's see, and then chat jumped because of course it did. Cannibalistic Wizard, why don't 19 and 20 get along? Because last time they fought 21. What? The old one is like why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, that
that's the classic one. I don't know that I get this one.
Yeah, that's the one I recognized.
Because last time they fought 21. Yeah, if there's a pun in there, it's not landing. Sorry, Wizard. I hate it when I have to say explain that to me, because I hate having to explain the joke kind of thing. But yeah. Delfred Zero, what MMOs are you interested in since you mentioned that channel earlier, or did I mishear? I'm not interested in any of them. It is a rare day that I play an MMO or that I stick with an MMO for any significant period of time. The one I've played the most over the years was SWTOR, and outside of that, I did Age of Conan for a while last year just because it was free to play, and it's an elderly MMO, but it was still kind of enjoyable for the sake of what it was. No, he's talking about like the most cutting edge MMOs, like New World coming out, and what was it, something of Ashes or whatever, all these like crazy Korean or Japanese import MMOs or the Amazon stuff. But the videos that drew me into just listening to what he had to say about industry and everything, he does a series on this game called Chronicles of Illyria, which was this Kickstarter funded game that was started in like 2016 or 2018 or something, and it gathered up $8 million and then has produced nothing. And then during COVID, they announced that they were shuttering the studio. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of the people who threw money at this thing were like, well, we're going to sue you because we threw all this money at this thing and you said you deliver, and you're reneging on that. And as soon as there was the air of a lawsuit oncoming, they're like, oh, no, we weren't shuttering. We're still working on it. And so it's a whole thing. It's a whole epic story. And Kira TV covers it in detail, like super duper, almost, God forbid, almost journalistic in nature. But yeah, and as a result of me watching those videos, of course, YouTube recommends other videos of his to me. And even if it's an industry or a type of game or something that I don't directly have an interest in, I like hearing about what goes on behind the scenes in industry stuff, whether it's movies or video games or whatever. And he does a really good job, as far as I can tell. It's a very, very matter-of-fact, very logical way of looking at everything and sort of analyzing the press releases and all that. So let's see. Thank you, Keldrig. Since you object to Scrotus 2024, I need to find a new hashtag. How about hashtag President Plunger 2024? That sounds a bit invasive. But thank you, Keldrig. Keep working on that. You'll be my campaign manager before you know it, or not. Let's see. Birgid. Scribe, would you consider watching The Math and Magic of Origami for a TED video? It'd be a nice change of pace. P.S. It's pronounced Brigid. Okay. In this case, that's your unique intro. You don't want to fix what ain't broken. You know, it's like when I go some unknown nation. You know, everybody gets their like unique little nickname for my little universe.
I like how they preemptively knew that you were going to fuck it up.
Well, except that she put it at the end of the message. If she put it at the beginning, maybe. But either way, The Math and Magic of Origami for a TED video would be a nice change of pace. It sounds very benign. Would I have much to say? Or would I find it interesting? That's the... You see, I personally, I kind of fear the day that I come across a TEDx talk or something that's perfectly fine and has nothing for me to either comment on, either good, bad, or otherwise. So I don't know. Are you setting me up there, Brigid? See, I might just call you by your name from now on to spite you.
Damn.
Oh, by Pirates Creed. Satsu, have you watched ReZero Season 2 yet?
No, but I'm about to start it. I've already put it into my queue. I had to finish up this one show that I was watching. It was I killed slimes for 300 years and became max level or some shit like that. Yeah, it's a show about some witch she became a witch in an MMO or whatever because she died in real life. And she was living in this little hut out in the field where nothing but slimes were. And she just sat there and she lived in this place for 300 years and killed nothing but slimes and ended up becoming max level from doing that. And yeah, it's a show about that, and it was interesting.
Lexi Mads, Brigid. Origami is pronounced Brigid? All my life I've been pronouncing it wrong. Spudgun, follow-up question. They are bringing it in for paramilitary aids, but are making it optional for MPs. Thoughts? Parliamentary aids. I honestly, on that one, I don't know. I don't know what parliamentary aides do or who they interact with on a regular basis versus MPs. So yeah, once you start moving away from healthcare and or military and go more civilian or politician, I'm not quite sure what the differential. So I guess I don't have an opinion on that one without more information. Satsu?
I don't.
All right. Let's see. Tony Giff, Scribe, have you ever heard of a good theory called racial literacy? I have heard of racial literacy. Is it a good theory? Because the couple of times I've seen it's been right up there with cultural competency or cultural awareness or something, which just kind of is a softer and gentler term of saying I need to categorize people on the basis of their skin color. I mean, racial literacy. So if you put, 4 Asian men in front of me, what simply knowing their race, or at least visibly, tells me about who they are? Nothing. Yeah. So, I mean, now, if there's a different definition of racial literacy that you've got, because Lord knows I've heard several, that's not that, by all means. But I have heard the term before. It just doesn't come up very often because I think it's a bit too on the nose. Let's see. Frosted Glass. So the Texas Dems are wanted by the Texas police. Are bounty hunters still a thing? Yeah, I don't think that's how that works. I don't think they're going to go that far. Yeah, as soon as they step back onto Texas soil, they're fair game for whatever law enforcement that the governor wants to lay down. But yeah, I don't know what Dog's doing these days. I don't think he's in Hawaii anymore. Did he move to Texas? Dog the Bounty Hunter?
I don't know. Squishy, she watches that.
Yeah. Oh, Lexi Mads, 21.
Oh. That draw, though.
Yeah. Okay. Sugarath, Satsu, Nick Brawl, question mark.
What?
Nick Brawl, question mark.
Hold on.
I assume that's some kind of anime.
I don't know. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can actually see this. Nick Brawl.
Nope.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Travis Gardner, how can I become the chief Oklahoma correspondent? Well, you would have to consistently send stories only from Oklahoma. And I'd have to know that they were Oklahoma, I guess. You see, Colleen Bernier, senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent, Colleen Bernier, she would constantly send us Florida man stories. And they're most decidedly and noticeably Florida in nature. And that's kind of how that happened. Even though she can send us stories now from anything and she still gets that title. See, I guess, I don't know, is there a stereotypical Oklahoma thing? I mean, there's no Oklahoma man, so I'm not quite sure, I don't know what goes on in Oklahoma that would be, particularly Oklahoman.
Well, the fact that you have to ask pretty much answers that question.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess if you sent us a series of stories within the same category, if there's something that's unique to Oklahoma as an event or I don't know. And also the other problem is me remembering everybody's titles, because there's a couple that I put into my mind, sort of seared them into my brain over the years. And Colleen Bernier is one of them. Jack Cochran's one of them. Although Jack doesn't really show up in the chat much anymore. He's too good for us now. He's on the Monkey in the Morning stuff all the time.
Yeah.
He's got his own show now, basically. No one know. Any consternation over episode 6? You mean of what? Return of the Jedi?
I think he means Loki.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, that is the other YouTube. I keep forgetting because Loki is a series is so forgettable. Yes, the other YouTube thing tomorrow. I can't tell you what time because it'll depend on when I get to it, but it'll be relatively sudden because I'll still have work I have to get done. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'll be doing my last, thankfully, review of whatever happens in episode 6 of Loki on Disney Plus. Which I entirely am prepared to see that Loki is going to fight Loki in a final battle against his evil self and his toxic masculinity, blah, 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 blah. That's my prediction. I'd be happy to be wrong. I'd be happy if they walk into the room and it's Kang the Conqueror or Rama Tut or the Watcher. I don't know. But unless or until I see that, I'm just going to assume it's going to be bad Loki and blah. So, yeah, consternation. You know, if I was like of a mind where, boy, don't screw this up, guys, then maybe. But I've kind of given up hope at this point. So, yeah, not consternation. Morbid curiosity, maybe. How they'll decide to end it, and whatever they decide to imply its effect will be in the future storylines of the MCU. I assume it's also going to bleed into somehow the next Doctor Strange movie with the Multiverse of Madness, just like WandaVision did. But whereas Falcon and Winter Soldier didn't. Falcon and Winter Soldier actually has more of a connection to the end of Black Widow than it does to anything else. I won't give away the whole kit and caboodle on that if you do actually want to go watch Black Widow, which I wouldn't recommend, but whatever. Let's see. Cannibalistic Wizard, thoughts on Gator Loki? Yeah, I've seen people. Now, I don't know all the relatively recent comic book lore to be able to say one way or the other, but some people made a reference to the fact that in Ragnarok, Thor mentioned how one time Loki changed himself into a snake. Or there was some kind of non-human like frog Loki at one point. Or so. I don't know. If there's a comic book reference to it, I'm not aware of it. But then my Marvel knowledge kind of stops around 1995 as far as having anything that I could call encyclopedic on certain things because I stopped collecting comics around then. The clone sort of epic in Spider-Man completely, yeah, that whole thing just killed my interest. So yeah, I don't know. And honestly, he's no Baby Yoda. Let me put it that way. I'm going to forget about Gator Loki after the show's done. Bridget, I recommend it because the subject is interesting. It's mostly about origami and engineering. The guy who does the talk makes these extremely lifelike models. It's interesting and entertaining and informative. I mean, are you sure is it a TEDx or a TED Talk? Because I mean, I got co-decolonizing spiritual breathing or something. That might beat out origami buildings.
Just put it in your back pocket in case you run out of ideas.
Well, I mean, there was, I have watched TEDx's that are good before, don't get me wrong. And the one that comes to mind the most is there was this one lady who got up on the stage and says she's a professional fundraiser. And she goes, without filtering, she doesn't sugarcoat any of it. She talks about like just the down and dirty necessities of fundraising and the sort of almost cold mechanical ways you have to go about it. And how, you're not trying to make friends or anything, you're trying to raise money. And if that means you have to put on a smile or promote something you actually don't believe in or have any interest in, but that's beside the point. It was very interesting. It was very interesting to see somebody just like lay it all out there and not basically not give two shits about whether or not it was glamorous or anything. It was very interesting. And that was a TEDx. And I was like, oh my God, a TEDx. I should find that one again and just like do that or something else. Ebony Williams, favorite field trip you went on in school? Actually, at one time I got a chance to go to the East Coast, and we did a sort of whirlwind tour of Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania and New York. Not necessarily in that order because I don't remember the geography off the top of my head. Either way, so we went to D.C. and looked around the museums and stuff and the Capitol building and all that. And then we went to Pennsylvania. The only thing I remember about Pennsylvania is we went to an Amish farm. And, a tour bus full of people going to see an Amish farm. And they wouldn't allow you to take pictures because of the whole technology thing. However, they would allow you to take pictures of this cute little toddler dressed up as an Amish person for $5 or something. It was very bizarre. And then we went to New York, and I remember I had ribs at it was Tony's something in New York. And we went around in Times Square, and but here's the significant thing. As we were passing Radio City Music Hall, right, or the Radio City Studios or whatever those are, or it's NBC Studios. Sorry, NBC Studios, not Radio City. NBC Studios with the neon and all that, where Saturday Night Live is and all that. Guess who walked out the door? And this will tell you how long ago this was. O.J. Simpson. As I'm walking by, O.J. Simpson came out, and this was about a year or two before the murders. And to this day, I swear I snapped a photo of him outside the NBC studios when I had my camera with me. But if I did, it either didn't take, or the picture was lost, or the person at the development place, because this is back when you had to take your photos in to be developed, stole it or something. Anyway. What was your favorite field trip, Satsu?
Well, I guess this does count as a field trip because it was with I was in school at the time when it happened. But we went to Florida to participate in a robotics competition. And our parents gave us a bunch of money or whatever. And then during the trip, they were giving us I think it was $30 a day to make sure that we ate and stuff like that or whatever. And we got down to Florida, and we were right on this strip where the Ripley's Believe It or Not building was or whatever. And we just, outside of the competition itself, once we got home and back to the apartment, a hotel in the strip, we were kind of able to just do whatever the fuck we want. So we had a fucking blast, man, getting into all kinds of shit, just checking out places and seeing stuff we never seen before, walking up and down the strip and just having a good time. It was a really unrestricted kind of, you guys are out of our hair, so go fucking do something. It was fun. It was a good time.
There's an interesting sort of conversation taking place in the chat. Ebony says, Leximaz, do people in your life think you're forgettable? And Pincalo says, we are all forgettable, Ebony Williams. And she says, that's depressing. And I just kind of want to say, unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. Nat King Cole. The great Nat King Cole.
Great job.
Right? Not my best rendition, I will admit. Let's see. Ebony Williams, Satsu, what is 1000-7?
I don't know.
There you go. Cryptic, it's good to make you cringe again. Make America cringe again. That should be your baseball hat. Random American, Satsu, why are you allowing this? What, am I singing? Hey, this is my night. If Satsu wants to sing on his night, I wouldn't stop him.
Dude, I have no control over anything.
Not even your own household?
Well, I have a wife, so you tell me.
I honestly have no idea what that means. Ebony Williams says, Satsu, 1,000 minus 7?
Oh, was that the question?
I guess so.
I didn't know I was being
Okay,
randomly quizzed with a math question.
What is 1,000 minus 7?
993 or some shit like that. I don't know.
What, you don't know? Why would you be uncertain about that?
I don't know, because mental math was never my strong point.
Mental math. Okay.
I get you have no. I've seen Tokyo Ghoul. I just don't get the reference. I watched that whole show. I just don't understand. Like, well, I mean, I did watch it a while ago, so maybe if it was fresh in my mind, I'd be like, oh, but yeah.
Froscas, what if Travis Gardner always posts stories about wind going running down the plains? Well, I was going to make an Oklahoma joke at that time too, but I was trying to be respectful, because I was like, because when I started thinking like, what's Oklahoma? The very first thing I was like, oh, Oklahoma, where the wind coming, and I was just, I better not do that. That'd probably be insensitive. They probably hear that a lot. It's kind of hard to get away from a musical that's just named after your state. It's kind of tough. Let's see. Cryptic math. It's a hell of a drug. Yeah. Har. Especially these days when it's inherently racist and needs to be like eliminated or correct answers need to be discouraged.
Well, I mean, look how you just hassled me as a white person about me not knowing the answer right away.
No, you knew the answer right away. I just didn't understand why you were added the uncertainty as a tail to it.
Because it was random. It was just kind of out of nowhere. Somebody walks up to you and is like, what's that girl's bust size? You're like, what? Who are you?
That's not what I was saying. Jerkwad. Let's see. Frost Glass again. Should the Texas Republicans should hold a vote to rename Dallas BLM City, then skip it because there's no quorum? That would be funny. I mean, that'd be stupid, but that'd be funny. Yeah. No, I honestly, I don't want elected politicians, people who are being paid by the taxpayer to fulfill a function, to play games with their jobs. I really don't. I can sort of look at what's going on in Texas and have a sort of popcorn moment as it's all playing out in some stupid like soap opera. And what's going to happen when the Democrats finally do come back to Texas, and are they going to be arrested, and are they going to be frog marched in front of the cameras all the way to the state building and have to sit down to vote? Yeah, there's a certain entertainment in that. At the same time, though, it's like, this is so pointless and stupid. It makes me mad at the same time that I'm entertained by it. Honestly. Kiefer Dam, sorry for taking so long to get home. There are police cars on the highway for some reason. Well, first off, you don't have to apologize. Second off, I'm glad you're okay, because presumably there's something going on the highway that was bad. And I think that's it. Yeah, you don't have to apologize. I mean, you posted the link to my playlist on Hive Diversity. So thank you. I hope work's going okay. I know it's like now timing all sucks now for it, but Seftis Wolf, that one serial killer made his victims count backwards by sevens to keep them aware of what he was doing when he tortured them. Satsu 2 cents.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Hey, that's insidious. That reminds me of well, not directly, but there was a guy. God, what was his name? Parker Ray. It wasn't Ray Parker. Anyway, it was this guy down in, I think it was New Mexico. And well, actually, I shouldn't get into the details. Anyway, if you want to hear of one of the most like depraved serial killers ever, just look up the Toy Box Killer. Yeah, that I read a book, a true crime book on that guy, and that I can't even get into the barest mention of what he did or how he did it without just like going over the line, in my opinion, for a family show. So I'll Kiever Dam, David Parker Ray. Yes, talking about David Parker Ray. That's it. I knew it was Ray, and I didn't want to say Ray Parker because I was like, no, he didn't sing the Ghostbusters theme song. It was different than anyway. So, and now everybody's putting the toy box. If you want to know about it, there's a whole Wikipedia article on it, and Random American 7 was a prime example of a 90s movie. It was one of the better movies of the decade, yeah, for sure. Like Pulp Fiction, 7, that kind of stuff, sort of like iconic movies that everybody tried to copy after that. Yeah, that's one of them. But on the topic of a movie about serial killers, then me bringing up randomly a different serial killer, we're at the top of the hour, and thus the end of the show. So, Satsu, you can do anything after this?
No.
Okay. As for myself, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button and all that fun stuff on my channel, because tomorrow morning at some point, I'll be doing a final review of the last episode of Loki on Disney Plus in all its glory, or vain glory, depending. And then after that, tomorrow, you can find Satsu and I again on Satsu's channel at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for the next episode of Lords of the Night. Everyone, thank you for joining us. You guys really are the greatest audience in the world. And if anybody says otherwise, I will fight them with words on Twitter behind an avatar. Gently. Well, I mean, like, not use inherent pejoratives and things. Try to be classy about it. That's how you get around a lot of the things of being like harassing or something. You try to deal with it intellectually. Civilly. Okay. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Everybody who donated, thank you. Thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. But yes, again, find us tomorrow on Satsu's channel at the regular time. Satsu, thank you for joining me, as always. Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
And taking out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism.
Sadomasochism.
Today's secret word is cats.
Meow.
Midnight, not a sound from the pavement. Has the moon lost her memory? She is smiling alone. No? Cats?
No.